Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of the resellermindset.com. And for this Reseller Friday, I want to ask you, are you running a business or are you having just a little reseller hobby? The reason I ask this is because there's very different mindset between a business and a hobby. And many people are treating their reselling business like a hobby, and maybe they're retirees or something, so they don't really need the income. So they kind of downplay it. Although I would encourage you to go to my website, talktoprofit.com, and watch my videos about retirement because I think it might be eye-opening for you. But that's a whole other issue. The way I approach life is I want to do my all in everything I do. I don't want to be half-hearted in my endeavors. I don't want to just do the bare minimum. I certainly don't want to treat things like a hobby that are a business when I'm trying to do my all unto the Lord. I'm trying to do everything I do to my maximum potential, grateful from a grateful heart for the breath of life, for life in general, and honoring God with my life by doing my all and not being half-hearted in any endeavor. I certainly don't want to treat things like a hobby that are a business. And I think that mentality of, oh, it's just my hobby, my little reselling hobby, I think that can really hinder people and keep people back from the great success they could be. If you're merely having a little hobby that kind of masquerades as a business, you're not going to give your all. You're not going to do your best. You're going to take shortcuts. You're going to say, you know what, I'm tired. I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to list today. I literally watch some people who I like a lot, and I'm not going to mention them, who they are, or anything like that, because this is not an attack on them. But they're good at what they do. They're good as resellers. They're good at it. It's a husband and wife couple. I know there's thousands of those on social media. They're very good, but they're having days where they don't list anything. It's just not being treated like a real business. They treat it like a hobby. Can you imagine if you worked at a fast food restaurant and one day you just decided, we're not going to sell anything today. We're not showing up today. We're not going to work. It would never happen. But people in their own business they actually care about do that to themselves. They sabotage themselves. They literally call out and say, I'm not going to work today. I'm just going to relax. You can have relaxation, but you could also have a lot of productivity every day. It's not this either or scenario. People act like, well, I don't want to be a workaholic. You're nowhere close to being a workaholic. You don't have to worry about it. You're the furthest thing from being a workaholic, so don't let that fear scare you away from doing a little bit more. The reselling business is one of the best businesses you could possibly get into as an individual or as a couple, like a couple I mentioned. The startup costs are minimal to none. You can literally look around your house, find old stuff you're not using, and resell it. You don't have to pay a penny for inventory, at least not starting out. And as many of you know, when you get started going, friends and family will bring you stuff. Oh, you want to sell my clothes? Oh, you want this? I don't need this anymore. You could try selling that. And of course, that's not going to be any long-term sourcing for you from people just giving you stuff. But people will give you stuff even when you've been reselling for 20 years. But this business is one of the easiest businesses you can get into. I know there's tons of people who try to make it sound like it's so difficult, it's so hard. I think part of that is their ego. They don't want to admit that the business is actually easy. They want to make it seem like they've done something difficult. It's so hard, No, it's not. It's not hard. Is there a lot to learn? Of course. But can you get started and do all right with just a few, I was going to say minutes, but a few hours worth of learning? I mean, really, if you went to ebay.com and you knew nothing, it's not going to let you create a listing that's not complete. You can't list something with no pictures. You can't list something without the item specifics that they require being left blank. You have to put a description. You have to fill out the shipping. And so really, you don't have to learn. You can just learn as you go. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. Go watch some videos and learn how the basics of how to list an item on whatever site you're going to be selling on. I just use eBay as an example. It's not difficult. People know how to take pictures of things. They may not know how to take good pictures, but they know how to take pictures. And for some items, you don't need good pictures because the item itself is so valuable and so desirable. A bad picture will still sell the item just as much as a perfect, pristine stock image would. And in some cases, it would sell even better because people are looking to make sure you actually have this in stock and you're not some drop shipper who may not actually have the product. they see an image that's not very good, a picture is not very good of the item, they at least know, okay, that's a real item, because no stock image looks that bad. But you have a business as a reseller that is easy. Listen, I started tech companies decades ago. It was a lot of work and it was very hard. And the information out there on running those businesses was zilch. There was none out there. I was literally creating the steps as I went because there's no one doing it. Or the people who did do it were not sharing information with competitors. Resellers, on the other hand, because they're treating it like a hobby, they're out there blabbing all their secrets. Well, look at this source I have. Go buy here. And then they blow up their own supply. I've seen that happen numerous times where people literally talk about, we go to this location, this store, we buy during these hours, and then next thing you know, their store's flooded. They can't find the inventory and they're going out of business. That's not treating it like a real business. Unless you can help people, you should help people. But just blabbering to the whole internet your sources where they come in and just scoop it all up is insane. It's not running a business. That is a hobby, a really dumb hobby, but it's a hobby. But why not treat it like a real business? Why not be the success you could be? Why not do your all? I'm not saying you have to work 13 hours a day, but when you do put your work into the business, why not treat it like a real business? Not play around, not piddle around, but you give your all to it. You list your items each and every day. You source regularly, maybe not every day. Maybe you have a bunch of items that are in a quote unquote death pile. Maybe you need to get those listed first. But you're just active in your business. A customer has a question, you answer it. You don't wait till the weekend to answer my messages. I've seen people do that. Well, it's just a hobby, and so I just answer questions on the weekends, and I ship out every Wednesday. You ship one day a week? Who wants to buy from you? Even if it was your hobby, wouldn't you have some dignity about you that you'd want to treat it with respect, and you want to treat your customers with respect and get their item to them as fast as possible? Can you imagine ordering from one of those people on a Thursday and you got to wait till next Wednesday for them to finally get around to shipping it? And that's presuming these hobby sellers don't decide, well, I'm feeling tired this Wednesday. I'm not going to do it today. Just wait till next Wednesday. So basically 2 weeks pass before you even get the item shipped. And that may sound insane, but there are people literally doing that right now on eBay. Some of the other sites kind of force you to ship faster. But eBay, you can take your time. If you set a long handling time, you can do it. But why would you want to? Now, I'm not criticizing you if you're running a hobby. That's fine. If you don't want to have a real business, it's just something you're doing on the side. But at least treat it well. At least treat your customers well. Handle it like a real business. Even if you're going to say it's a hobby, do your best when you do work on it. I'm not saying you have to go full time, but some of you are in the hobby mode when that's not your desired end goal. You want to be a full-time reseller, but as long as you're treating it like a hobby, you may never get to that point. And you can. As I said, you're in one of the easiest businesses there is, and you can become successful at it. You can become a great success, but you can't have days where you slack off. You can't have days where you just pull back and shrink back and say, well, I'm not going to work today because I'm going to go with the family to blah, blah, blah. If you worked a regular job somewhere, you would never disrespect your boss by calling in and saying, well, I'm not going to go to work today because I'm going to go with my family on a trip. You wouldn't do that. So why don't you have the same respect for yourself in treating your business like a real business? And if you'll do that, you'll redouble your efforts to be that success you can be, you will become greatly successful. It's just a matter of you putting the effort in. The reselling business is beautiful in this regard because in other businesses, you can kind of spin your wheels. You can kind of put in a lot of effort and get no results back. But in reselling, if you list more items that are good quality items, you're going to get more sales. And if you double that amount each and every day, you're going to get even more sales. The amount of effort you put in directly affects the amount of results you get. And in some businesses, that's just not what happens. Some businesses have so many other variables that can impact the business, even when you're putting in even more effort. But reselling is beautiful in that regard. If you put more effort into your reselling business, you are going to get better results. My friend, that's what I want to encourage you to do today. I want to encourage you to put more effort into your business and treat it like a business. Stop saying it's a hobby. I don't even care if it is a hobby. Stop saying it's a hobby. Treat it like a real business. And the hours you do put into it, make sure you're giving your all. Don't be piddling around on social media and looking at videos and doing this, claiming it's work. Just because you sat in front of a computer and said you were working does not mean you were doing work. Do real work. Treat it like a real business and be respectful enough to yourself and to your family to actually do the work and stop treating it like a hobby. I know this may make some people mad. They won't like it because they like their little hobby business. And I'm not telling you you can't have a hobby business. Like I said, I just want you to treat it like a real business because you'll get the best results that way. A hobby generally is not treated with the respect that it deserves. And it is not treated like something that's important, something that matters. That's why you see those people shipping 1 day a week and answering questions on the weekend and just not respecting their customers or themselves. But I want you to become a great success, and you can do it if you'll put in the effort and treat your business like a real business. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.